Good afternoon, my beautiful babes and babettes. I'm your resident active advocate, and if you're wondering why I always say it so fancily, that's what my dad says it when he calls me up on the phone in the afternoon, because he's hilarious. So, okay, yesterday, I covered the disability of one of the two main characters, but that was the father. Today, I would like to talk more about the actual main character and the POV character, Charlie. So, Charlie, as I mentioned yesterday, is on the autism spectrum. But the reason why I refer to this as a spectrum, not only is that scientifically accurate, but it is also accurate in terms of character portrayals throughout books that have characters with autism in them. So let's take Christopher from the previous book as an example of someone who doesn't function very well socially, shall we say. He would be, quote, lower functioning on the social scale, whereas Charlie would be, quote, higher functioning on the social scale. Again, and always, there are different measures for different people. There are different standards for different people. This is why there's a continuum rather than you are this and place you in a box. And the collective desire of society to put you in a box is what actually hinders scientific progress, I find. You know how I've always said that I don't have any intrinsic problem with the medical model? It's how the medical model is applied in relation to our social understanding or lack thereof of a particular disability at any given time in our history. So let's say back in biblical days, the understanding of anyone with any disability was that they were possessed by some kind of demon, and or that they were a curse upon their family because, by the way, your father did something wrong in, years before you were born, or your grandfather, or, any of your elder relatives. It's called the sins of the father fallacy, and I definitely call this a fallacy because, as you know, I do not believe that disability is a curse. Thank you very much. Goodbye. When it comes to the Someeday Birds, Charlie is not only socially, quote, functional, but he's more so than quite a lot of people portrayed in books who do not have autism. Charlie has a sister, and he also has two younger twin brothers who all join him on the road trip across the country to look for the Someeday Birds. And the sister and the twins want to go to all these particular places that they encounter along the way across the map, across America. And Ludmila, the woman who is driving them across the country, who is a friend slash nurse of their father, she's also had a very troubled past. And when Charlie finds out about what has happened in Ludmila's life, he begins to see her in a different sort of light. He had, up till that point, viewed her maybe as even an adversary because he didn't know the nature of the relationship between Ludmila and his father. He thought that maybe she was trying to encroach upon his father's life and try to get, information about Afghanistan and all this awful stuff that he wasn't equipped to deal with at the time, and like even try to steal from them, steal from their house. But that turned out absolutely not to be the case. Ludmila was only looking for evidence of what had happened to her brother in the Afghanistan war. And when Charlie finds this out, oh god, these are all horrible spoilers, by the way. Spoiler warning! When Charlie finds this out, his opinion of her changes. So when Charlie is, working with people, his opinion of a person is not, you are this, And in my mind, you are static as well because, quote, I have no social skills because I have autism. That's not how that works in real life. What I love about this book is its connection to realism. You know, it's a spectrum for a reason. Some people are going to have greater social skills than others. Some people are going to have, you know, just any different skill that you can apply to a human being also applies to people with autism and to people with neurodiversity in general, right? So no group of people can just be one thing. We've discussed the trope of the master status before, and it's not just a trope in literature. This exists in society, always in society, because look at the trajectory of disability throughout time in, quote, Western civilization. Has it been overly positive? Or have we just found different, more creative, and more mathematical, more scientific ways of being prejudicial? I would argue for both of those, actually, because science has greatly advanced our understanding of disability, what it really is, and how it really works, and how people with disability are capable of fitting into society. Science is a good thing. It is the misapplication of science due to our ingrained prejudices that we don't want to get rid of because change is hard. That makes disability into a problem, quotation marks. So when it comes to characters like Charlie, I really appreciate the lack of stereotyping that takes place in that book. Yes, he's picky. Yes, he can be closed-minded, but at the same time, so can all of us. I have a very good friend who is a very picky eater, and she is not on the autism spectrum. You know, I know lots of people who are closed-minded who are not on the autism spectrum. This is not an autism thing, quotation marks. This is a person thing. No quotation marks. So, yeah, basically when it comes to Charlie and interpersonal relationships, he does a pretty good job. And especially too when it comes to taking care of his younger siblings. He's there for them. You know, he's very protective of them because it is sort of ingrained in his mind that yes, you are part of this family and yes, we love you and we want you. And I think that one of the basic conceits of good disability narrative is that you, as you are wanted by us. Not, I need to change you first to fit my model of what I think you should be. It is, as you are wanted by us. Us being the family, the friends, even the wider society. Please join us because we want to be part of you. And we like you, for the most part. Just don't treat us like crap. All right, so that is the second half of the Someeday Birds. And because I take weekends off, I still can't remember what book I'm doing next, but I will be addressing that book on Monday. And I hope that this has turned out, you know, as a more in-depth analysis of the book than I had previously provided, which is always my goal. All right, so have a lovely, lovely weekend, and I will see you on Monday. Read, 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 read. Bye! Mwah!